-2, I'm just carrying the count a wee bit further through. Andrew counts beautifully. Sesame Street is. Yeah. Andrew counts beautifully, doesn't he?
He does.
How are you?
I'm not so bad.
You look like a man who hasn't shaved this morning.
You can't do that. You look like a man who spent the last week taking in this first cut of silage, getting ready to spread some slurry.
No, we spread the slurry now. So what have you got for me?
Well, a pretty busy week, as
yep.
you can imagine. I suppose first things first.
Oh, it's Cormac Campbell from the Newry Reporter. First things first. Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Too busy trying to get a wee smart comment in before I get mine in.
No, it's just I respect you. I respect what you do. I take it for granted that they all know you, and therefore it slipped my mind.
Slipped your mind.
No, go ahead.
Another symptom of old age, maybe, Rowan.
Your day will come.
It will.
Chucky your law, I tell you, without a doubt.
Yes. On the front page, Don McMahon, one of our reporters, has been speaking to the mother of Natasha McShane.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's quite an in-depth interview. It's spread over 3 pages. Mm. So some of the detail that Natasha's mother goes into relates to maybe some things that people didn't know about the case in the trial. Specifically,
go ahead.
The crucial link to tracking down and convicting Viramontes, that's the
guy who's
in prison for it, was the H&M bag holding Natasha's final coursework papers for her master's were one of the keys to
he was
the
caught
conviction.
with that.
Well, he took the bag and there was evidence found that way. So he took whatever he could get, unfortunately.
And we're left with the question, take it, but why did you do what you did? You know, it's awful.
I don't think normal people will ever understand the mentality that led to what happened in Chicago.
How is the child at the moment? How is Natasha?
Well, according to her mother, she understands everything that went on during the trial. So you would hope that over time she'll recover more and more functions and more of a life that was robbed from her. Because she certainly had a bright future ahead of her at the time that was stolen. So hopefully over time she'll get that little bit more freedom back.
Well, all we can do this morning, we can do many things, but certainly we want to wish Natasha and Natasha's family all the very best and, make a speedy recovery.
A second story on the front page is one you couldn't ignore for the last number of days, is the granting of planning approval to a major out-of-town development, which has caused furore among the city centre traders, also the Northern Ireland Independent Retail Association, Chamber of Commerce, and Sinn Féin, the largest party in Newry area, have also said that they are opposed to it. Now, on the flip side, the SDLP have supported it, which is hardly a surprise because it was their minister who gave the go-ahead. They're hardly going to come out and object to what he has passed.
But isn't it the case when Sinn Féin had the opportunity to vote against it in the council back in 2009, I think it was, that they abstained?
Well, in May 2009, council minutes from the Economic Development Committee show that Sinn Féin councillors at the time, Terry Hardy, Brenton Kern, Turlock Murphy and Anthony Flynn, abstained from voting and supporting the development as they wanted to wait for the views of Newry Chamber of Commerce and Newry City Centre Management Partnership. And in 2010, councillors Charlie Casey and Coleman Burns proposed and seconded adopting the council's final out-of-town policy document. So, on one hand, in 2009 they didn't oppose it, but in 2010 you would assume it superseded that they backed the council's policy to not be in favour of such things. So it's a little more complicated and convoluted than that.
But certainly the council, the official council position is that they support it.
The council's position in 2009 was that they supported. The 2010 out-of-town policy is a little more...
as you say, it's more convoluted.
It's more convoluted than that. The 2010 policy wouldn't be quite as in favour of out-of-town developments. If we move on to religious matters, and the new Newry-based moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Ireland, he was installed as moderator in the past week, and he gave his first address in which he said that he called on the church to become a people of service and outreach in his forthcoming year in office.
Where did I hear that before?
You think there's going to be a merger of the Catholic Church and the Presbyterian
Francis the Good. Francis the Good. I could almost be listening to Pope Francis speaking there. That's the sort of thing he would say. But Michael is a lovely man. He's a good man. None of that surprises me about Michael Barry. You know, he has always outreach to people in our community, you know. He still does. He's doing it as moderator. Good.
On the same page, we've got the latest instalment on the Greencastle ferry.
What's happening?
Last week, obviously, the residents...
It's your story.
Yeah. Last week, the residents had said that the decision would rest with the minister. This would be the same minister who made the decision in the out-of-town planning development. I contacted the department, and they've said that no decision has yet been taken. They're still consulting on the matter.
It has planning permission in the north, doesn't it?
No, the south.
The south it has, yeah.
On board Planala,
they've given it
passed
the okay.
it last year. Newry Council gave it their support in February. And really, it's really dragging on quite a lot. This has been on the cards.
Is it? Yeah.
If you remember that the ferry, the latest instalment of the ferry proposal, it's a bit like the bridge in the sense that people have been talking about it for 30, 40 years. But the latest incarnation of this project, it actually applied for funding from the same funding stream as did the Warren Point Marina and the Narwater Bridge. So it's really dragging on, and you would have thought, given how long ago they applied for planning permission, there'd be a decision either way on the matter.
It almost seems to me that the planners in the north, Mark H. Durkin's department, don't want to put the people off with a bad answer. Instead of saying, look, you're holding up a lot of things.
They don't want to rock the boat, Rowan. Do you see what I did there? Because it's a boat.
You're so good. You're just it's just unbelievable, you know. Goodness gracious. But that has to resolve soon, I would have thought.
You would expect so. Now, we had mentioned last week as well that Liam Hanaway, the new chief executive of the council, was hoping to see the transfer of powers early and set up a planning office in Newry, because obviously planning transfers across to the council. So we have a table in of what some of the new powers transferring to the council will be for people to get their head around. So it ranges from planning, roads, off-street parking, urban regeneration and community development. Just in terms of the off-street parking, the next time you hear a councillor complain about car parking fines and charges, they'll be responsible for parking in car parks. So let's see where the money with the mouth is in terms of revenue raising.
They really do have to sort the parking out, because there's no point in complaining that the parking along Merchants Quay is gone without actually coming up with an idea, a solution.
Well, in terms of that, they actually did. I mean, they introduced North Street as a permanent facility, and also just off Monaghan Street as well.
But North Street has to be developed yet, hasn't it? That's the waste ground.
It has to be developed, but there's 200 to 300 cars parking there every day.
Really?
So, yeah, it's very
a sign I don't
facility.
go into the city centre, God forgive me.
Yeah. So, other powers they'll be inheriting are housing, elements of housing from DSD, housing on fitness, and houses in multiple occupations, partially in that. Local enterprise development, elements of local tourism, and others, which is drawing up lists of buildings that are of architectural and our historic interest. That'll be of interest to groups such as the Slieve Gullion Buildings Preservation Trust, who are trying to protect some of the older buildings in the area. Now, in terms of the merger, we've also looked at what we'll be inheriting from the new district in terms of good things, not the bad things. Some of the glossy brochure style attractions. Now, we've just gone through a few of them. So in terms of sport, the region will be inheriting one of the world's best golf courses in Newcastle, and also Downpatrick Racecourse. So that's two pretty major sporting attractions. Mountains and Lochs, for the first time the whole of the Mournes and Slieve Croob and Slieve Gullion will be in the same administrative district. Also Lochs, part of Strangford Loch, will be in the new district. Carlingford Loch and Strangford Loch in the same region. Parkland, Down District is absolutely filled with amazing parkland from Tullymore and Castle Ward and Rowallan. So there's the other element of that. Some of these areas are National Trust owned. There's a big push in this area to see Darmore House and the grounds around it developed by the National Trust into a tourism destination. Now, what is of interest there is that there is a big National Trust presence in Down District. And now that the district's expanded, you may see more interaction with the National Trust and more pressure for something to be done at Darmore.
Your story, yes?
It is, yes.
Yeah, you were thinking outside the box there.
Well, I like I actually live in Down District,
Yeah.
you see, so it's an area I'm quite familiar with. Other things, there's some excellent beaches, Murlock and Toralla, both have blue flags.
It takes a bit of getting your head to get your head around it. It's a whole new concept, you know.
Certainly is. Other historical sites such as Inch Abbey, also a number of the locations from the Game of Thrones, television series such as Audley's Castle at Castle Ward.
Do I get my lovely sailing port of Ardglass into it?
You do.
Wow!
And you also get
in our area.
You also get a little bit of Van Morrison, Coney Island.
Coney Island down at Ardglass.
And also, of course, the burial place of St Patrick comes into the
They
area as well.
They say.
They said, do you not believe it?
Well, I don't know that I believe in anything. You know, this is another question, of course, for another day.
Well, moving on to something a little bit different. One thing I enjoy, obviously, I do the history content for the newspaper, and one of the things I find is going through some of the archives, old stories and things relating to people who are quite well known in this day and age. For example, in the 70s, I found a photo of you dressed as a punk.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, Rowan had a punk band called
I want to tell
Rowan's
you,
Ravens.
He most assuredly did
and he
not.
had a mohawk, and it was...
no, this is not me. I promise you this, I tell you.
Well, one person I found this week, and it was kind of apt, was local DJ Connor Phillips,
Yes.
who for the last 2 years has been presenting the breakfast show on Cool FM.
Yes.
He's actually signed off, and he's moving to England to take on some bigger projects. But we found where it all began for Connor in 1999. He received a scholarship to quite an impressive scholarship at that. There was 120 people selected out of 3,000 for a spot on the National Youth Theatre summer course. And on the course, Connor learnt about, let me see if I get this right, stage fighting, voice development and movement.
Stage fighting.
His voice is obviously...
That's kind of like that sort of thing.
His voice is his wage.
Oh, me hands.
He's moved jobs. And I don't know about stage fighting, but
don't worry about that.
I don't know how
Right, you're taking the sport now. We need to move on.
I'm taking the sport.
Right. This is too enjoyable. We're relaxing too much. Get on with it.
Fantastic weekend for local boxing.
Wow.
Fergus Quinn from Camla. It was his third All-Ireland final, and at the third time of asking, he got over that hurdle and he won the Irish Under-18 Middleweight Championship. So that means expect to see Fergus Quinn in Ireland colours at upcoming European World Championships. He's on the road to big things. This is the last stopping post, really, before you hit the seniors. And of course, the Irish senior setup brings home the bacon at the Olympics, World Championships.
He's a strong-looking lad, isn't he?
He's as strong as an ox. He's also an elite Gaelic footballer. He plays cornerback for Armagh Miners.
Well, look.
He was actually last weekend. He boxed his semi-final, and then the next day it turned out and played cornerback for Armagh in their Ulster Championship opener against Cavan. So it is a sporting superstar. Now the one problem is at some stage he's going to have to choose.
Yep.
Certainly if he moves up to senior level in either code, which he
take.
Which he has the potential to do. He's also, I think he's on study leave from school at the moment, so he has a bit of time over the summer, but afterwards choices have to be made.
Take us on, Great Jehovah.
Well, obviously the Armagh Cavan game is this weekend. This weekend. Gareth McCullough, our sports journalist, he has interviews with both Jamie Clark and Kieran McKeever. So I see a fella sitting over there in the corner, and one used to work for him and the other be a regular patron.
Clark was a good fellow. Clark's a nice lad. He went to New York and sold coffee in New York as well, I think, for a time.
Stole Graham's secret recipes.
Right.
The other main story of the weekend, the big sporting event taking place on our doorstep is Crooked Lake out in Camla.
That's this weekend.
So expect thousands of people, and hopefully the sun will shine. Although, one final thing, our weather reporter Rory Fagan says it'll be a stormy start of the month.
Stormy start. God love you. Go well. Take care. Some music, sir.